I'm Lynne Boyer, and you're listening to Community Catalysts, a podcast that supports each other through shared experience. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Community Catalyst Podcast. I'm your host, Lynne Boyer, Executive Director of Community Impact here at the YMCA of Greater Nashua. And I'm so pleased to have with me today Ashley Spencer from the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Nashua. Hi, Ashley.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And what is your role at the Boys and Girls Club?
I'm Senior Director of Club Operations.
Awesome. How long have you been there?
I've been at this club for almost 10 years, but I've been in clubs for over 13. I worked at a club while I was in college.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Awesome. Well, Ashley, can you just share with our audience what your organization does, where they're located, and who they serve?
Yes. So, our Boys and Girls Club is one of over 5,000 across the country, but here at our club, we serve youth 6 weeks old up to graduating seniors. We break up our building into three different areas. So we have our early learning center, which is for the 6 weeks old up to second graders. We have our clubhouse program, which is for third through fifth grade. And then we have our teen center program, which is specifically for 6th through 12th graders. All of our programs are geared around academic success, healthy lifestyles, good character, and citizenship. So healthy lifestyles looks a little bit different for, a sophomore in high school than it does for our pre-K kiddos, but really just trying to move them, throughout their years here at the club, focusing on those three different core areas. And
That's
then we're located right here in Nashua off exit 5, tucked right behind Lead Street School.
wonderful. And how many youth do you have that come through your doors on a daily basis?
Right now, we're averaging probably 250 kiddos a day. A lot of our athletic programs, typically when like wrestling season and swim season are up and running, feed into that. So that's between our morning, daytime, after school, and evening programs.
That's great. That's a great impact that your organization has. And so obviously our two associations have a lot of overlap, right? We've been in contact many times over the years to share resources, just, come together to chat, whatever it may be. So what are some of the partnerships that we've had over the years?
Some of the partnerships that we've had include our afternoon transportation. So we share a contract with First Student to help get kiddos from the schools to the Boys and Girls Club as well as to the Y, which is great. A lot of families, transportation, especially after school, kind of in the middle of some work days, can be a barrier for families. So it's great to know that we're both, have some cost savings, right? We're not renting our own bus. You're not renting your own bus. We're sharing that cost and we're getting kiddos to our door safely.
Yeah, it's great because some might think we're competitors, right? But we're not. We're not really. Even though we do have overlap, we are also serving different populations and different demographics of the community. So I love that we partner with that to help with both. And your pool is currently closed. So I know that we were able to hire at least one of your lifeguards, which was extremely helpful to us. And I know it helped that individual as well and helps you to just, allow that person to maintain employment. But it was, again, another win-win for both of us. And then Ashley and I were just talking before this call, because their pool is closed. We've invited them and their communities that they serve to be a part of our upcoming Safety Around Water Day. We like to offer classes for about 100 kids that day for free. So we've opened it up to the club because they're missing out on the pool right now. And we all know that learning how to swim for youth is a life-saving skill. So I'm really proud that we're able to do that in partnership with the club as well. So what's something exciting that you guys have coming up?
Something exciting that we have coming up. We have summer camp coming up. Summer camp it's crazy to think that summer is coming up so fast. Like I feel like the kids just started school a month ago and they're already talking about end of year parties, graduations, things like that. So we are getting really excited for our summer camp program. Really making sure staff are prepared for different programs, different fun things to do with the kids all summer. So I think all of our staff, the wheels are turning and they're starting to get really excited about what we're doing with the kids all summer.
Yeah, that's great. Summer camp holds a very special place in my heart for sure. Can you talk a little bit about its Camp Mariposa and sort of the premise behind that?
Yeah, so our Camp Mariposa program is for youth directly affected by drug misuse. And so and their family is currently suffering from addiction, maybe has passed away from addiction. And so that is actually an off-site overnight camp that they do once a month. And so we bring kiddos out to Barbara C. Harris. We go one weekend a month. We bring youth one month, teens another month, kind of in the alternating month. So both groups get there 6 times a year. And Mariposa, kids have an opportunity to just be kids and have fun. A lot of them have some big things happening at home. So we like to give them the opportunity, we're going to go swimming in the lake because it's fun. We're going to go kayaking, fishing. They get to go tubing in the winter, a lot of hikes. It's a beautiful outdoor space too, which a lot of kids here in Nashua don't necessarily have in their backyard. And then they do kind of get that camp experience when like they're staying in cabins, winterized cabins, right? There's running water, there's electricity, but they get to stay in the bunk beds and things like that. So kids like really do kind of form like tight bonds there. And then we do a lot of clinical work, a lot of educational prevention work as well, just because youth who have addiction in their family are more likely to also experience that. So we try to educate them and kind of give them the coping schools, coping tools, and coping skills and tools in their tool belts to be able to be successful.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And it's such a vulnerable population of kids, and you're giving them this opportunity of some normalcy. Um, it's just great. That's just wonderful to hear. Like I said, I started my Y career in camp, but before that, I was a camper, and it's some of the best memories I have, and some of the best skills, like you said, that I learned as youth growing up. That it's just great to be able to give kids that opportunity. That's wonderful. So, in all your time at the Boys and Girls Club, what are you most proud of, if you can possibly narrow it down to one thing?
What am I most proud of? I think one of the things I'm most proud of is so when I first started the club, I was an AmeriCorps Vista, and then I moved into an assistant development director role. So I was doing our fundraising events, things like that. And I had always loved being able to like include the kids in what I'm doing. So if we have a golf tournament and I have 100 signs to organize, like I get the kids involved, right? And so we organize the signs, the kids help me label them, and they're also like learning along the way. They're like, so who's this company? Like, why is their logo on here? So being able to like educate them on like, oh, well, they actually are sponsoring our golf tournament and that money goes to supporting the club. And they're like, people give the club money. I'm like, yeah, like we need to, pay staff. We pay for field trips and things like that. And so, and then talking about, the golf tournament, like, yeah, there's going to be 200 people there. 200 people are going to golf like for the club. And being able to explain to them that like there's a whole community that they will never meet that like supports the club, cares about them, wants them to have a successful future. I think just seeing them like put those dots together, and then especially some of those kids get older, right? And they maybe volunteer at one of the events and they get to see the supporters. I just really like that full circleness of them understanding like they might see the staff every day at the club, interacting with them, taking care of them, mentoring them, but there are so many more people in the Nashua community who like care about them and want them to be successful. So I think that's always been one of my favorite parts of my job and something I'm really proud of. Like I'm proud of the people who support the club and I'm proud of the kids for kind of acknowledging that and how they become appreciative of the people who support the club.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love that sharing with them and educating them on the supporters, right? And I think it's important for them to know that there's a whole community behind them that wants to see them be successful. That's really wonderful. My favorite program at the Y is our financial assistance program, Y Cares, and same thing. It's a whole community behind youth and families that this community wants to see them be successful. So that's great. Um, so if you wanted to leave our audience with one thing that they could take away about your organization, what might that be?
I think when people think of boys and girls clubs, they think like, oh, they watch kids after school or they help kids with homework. And I would encourage people to, and not even just with Boys and Girls Clubs, but with all youth serving organizations are doing so much more than watching kids, than helping with homework, right? We are mentoring kids. We are, helping them build social skills. We are helping them prepare for, the next steps in their lives and bright futures. And so I know here at the club, when I give tours, right, I love my job, but if I could just give tours of the club, I would be just as happy, right? When I give tours, people are like, wow, I had no idea the club does so much. And so I think that I would want like your audience to leave with, maybe some curiosity and like, what else does the club do that I don't know about? And we just encourage people to, go to our website, take a look, reach out for a tour, things like that. And I'm sure, there's a lot that the Y does that maybe your audience knows about, but doesn't necessarily have a full understanding of. So I would just encourage people to be curious.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I totally resonate with that. Absolutely. And that no one organization is like the other, right? Even with Boys and Girls Club and how they operate, another club, maybe our friends at Sauhegan Valley operate the same but different, right? And so it all
Mhm.
just depends on what you're looking for, where you live, transportation, access, all of that. So that's
I
great. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I always love to hear about the great work that you guys are doing over at the club. And we're always happy to partner with you in any way that we possibly can. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it and look forward to connecting more.
Great. All right. Until next time, goodbye, everybody. You can download Community Catalyst on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Castbox, and Spotify.